Hey, Chef Ro here. Today I'm going to show you how to use fennel. Great vegetable that often gets overlooked. Use it mainly in the summer, but you can use it all year round if you can find it, right? It's always the key. This top part, the little green leafy parts, these are called the fronds, and you can take some of these and pull them off the stems and use them as garnish. You don't ever want to cook this top part, it's not great for cooking, but these lovely little fronds here, you can see they stick to your fingers. These are great for garnish, and they add that slight hint of fennel or anise flavor to it. A lot of people liken the flavor of fennel to black licorice. So if you hate black licorice, you may or may not like fennel. It's going to be kind of iffy, but it does taste different raw and cooked. Cooking really mellows that flavor, so even if you don't like it raw, a lot of times people will like it when it is cooked. Okay, so the fronds you can take. Now when I worked in fine dining, we used to literally have to pick them 3 little fronds to a piece. And I used to have to do that a quart at a time. Let me tell you how much I miss working fine dining. Okay, so I don't do that anymore. I'll pull off a handful of them. I don't get real specific about it. I just kind of sit there and go like that. Works great as garnish. That way I also don't waste them. These rough stems up on top, they're not really good for much, except for they make great additions to your stock pot. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that most of my vegetable trim I will take and I'll put in a bag, freezer bag, and then when my freezer bag is full, I'll make myself some stock. And stock itself also freezes quite well, so you can make a big pot of stock, freeze what you don't use, and have it at your disposal whenever you need it. So this top bit here, usually I just cut off. I'm going to save some of the tops for fronds, for garnish. Everything else goes straight into the stock pile. Okay? Now, let me show you how to deal with the bowl, because this is what we're actually going to eat. First things first, you're going to need to get rid of this. As I've said before, general rule of thumb is if it doesn't look like something you want to eat, don't eat it. Okay? So we're going to get rid of that. Okay, and with that will come off tiny little pieces on the side. I usually will get rid of that as well. If these are very beat up, most of the time people will take that off too, but usually only just the really beat up parts. If you're working fine dining, this very outer layer you will also get rid of because it is the toughest of all the layers, so you get rid of that too, but that is kind of wasteful in a home kitchen especially. Okay. So now we're going to cut straight down the middle, because if you see this, it's like the core of a cabbage or a lettuce or anything like that. You don't really want to eat it. So what you're going to do is you will set it flat down and you're going to cut it out. And I'm going to do this backwards. Don't face it that way. Face it towards you when you're doing this, but I'm doing this so that you can see what I'm doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that knife and you're going to do a basic V-shaped cut right on either side of that core, and then that should pop it right out. It's got a big thick core. Okay, this goes in the stock bag. This is what we're going to use. If we're going to dice it, often how I use it, especially if you're going to cook it. If you're going to use it raw, now's the time to pull out that fancy mandolin that you've always wondered what the heck you bought it for and how you're going to use it without slicing your finger off. Use the guard. If you're going to eat it raw, slice it across a mandolin very thinly. And I usually slice it this way, just easier. Has more surface area to hold on to. If you're going to dice it, you're going to do the same thing that we do when we dice anything. Planks, then sticks, then cubes. So you're going to take this and you're going to do it into planks first. Okay, I'm just going to do part of it here. Now that I've got my planks, I'm going to lay it on its side. If this again is woody or rubbery, you're going to take and get rid of that. Now I'm going to cut them into sticks. Okay. Now I'm going to cut it into cubes. So I've done planks, then sticks, then cubes, and now I have beautifully diced fennel. Now that I've shown you how to use fennel, hopefully you won't be intimidated if you were before. It is kind of an intimidating vegetable to look at. You're like, I don't know how to deal with this. It's not as hard as it seems, as you can see. So hopefully now you can add it to your dishes with confidence and enjoy that extra flavor that it brings.